Welcome to episode 17 of the 3&6 podcast. This episode, I think, is called Websites and Sustainability, but apparently I can call it whatever the hell I want because I'm the boss.
Oh, you know.
I'm half the boss.
Okay, there we go.
Today we're joined by Dr. Zoe Detko, who is a sustainability expert.
I am.
From the UK. We're going to be talking about sustainability, in case that's not immediately obvious, and digital, and we're going to get questions asked at us rapid fire, and we're going to do our best to not look like complete buffoons.
I thought this was just a conversation about Zoe. I didn't know it was anything about sustainability.
Zoe, when did it all start? So that's what we're going to do.
That's what?
That is what we're going to do.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to quiz you.
Are you quizzing us on sustainability?
I'm quizzing you on sustainability.
Hang on. You're the expert.
We should be quizzing you.
Yeah.
Can we swap? Give us the questions and we'll ask them back to you.
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Before we jump in, Zoe, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience, about Ardea, about your journey to get here, and why this is important? Because it's important.
My journey to get here, I'll start on that because I walked, which is super sustainable.
Sorry.
Much
more.
Yeah.
Much
No.
more.
Yes, I am Dr. Zoe Detko. I help businesses get to net zero. I've been doing this for maybe 8 years now. 2 years independently. So I have a PhD in integrating the environment into planning and policy decisions, which was super fun to do. Spent a bit of time in Westminster whilst doing it. And then moved up north and started working at Lancaster University, helping businesses across different faculties reduce their emissions. And now I have my own business, Ardea Eco Innovation, and I use that to help other small businesses get to net zero in all sorts of different ways. I have clients from digital marketers through to ports and manufacturing. Yeah, ports.
Not the drink.
Oh, right.
It's a bit early.
Shit.
But yeah.
The ships.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
We can not edit that one out.
And
That
that's
was
what I do.
staying in.
Yeah, and you've helped us
Yes.
with the emissions for 3&6, and we were accredited as part of the net zero scheme, which was great because rather than just saying, hey, we're going to build some trees in Nicaragua.
Build some trees.
Yeah.
Or plant trees, however you do
just
it,
think
whatever you do in
they
trees.
can't
Hopefully that's
grow.
not on the
I really
quiz.
got you on board, haven't I?
Hopefully that's not on the quiz. Instead of planting...
We're going to need a lot of wood to build these trees.
planting
Chop the trees down
Chop those
immediately.
trees down and build these trees. What?
Instead of planting the trees, you set of pricks, we ended up doing solar panel and with sustainable cookware. It was a lot better than just, hey, let's just make something more green in the world. Let's actually tackle it in a sensible, almost personalised way, and I really liked that. So
Yeah. No, I think what we did with you guys was really fun because we kind of looked at the broad spectrum of ways that we can offset emissions. And, offsetting emissions is a really useful tool, but the most important part is reducing, and that's what we're working on together. And that's, offsetting's fun, but the most important thing is that we are working together to reduce the emissions. Yeah.
And we're going through that process again as well, because it's not just a one and done thing.
No.
This is especially with a business like ours that has grown and evolved since the very first time that we've done this. We're actually looking at doing this again and making sure that we're accurately reflecting. Or offsetting, I should say, not reflecting, offsetting the position that our company really is in at the moment.
Yeah, you can recount your numbers. And I think what's really interesting about your business particularly is that you are growing and there are going to be more emissions that come along with that growth. But what we can use is what's called intensity metrics, which we so we can look at either the amount of staff that you've got, and we can kind of divide your emissions, and hopefully once we've done that, the emissions will reduce per person rather than it being, overall, yes, you have grown as a business, but because you're sustainability minded, that those emissions per head are actually reducing. And that's a really interesting metric that we can use to kind of show your journey without it being a bit of a shock that you've gone up in emissions. Because
And we'd like metrics.
We do love metrics.
We'd like metrics.
do.
Data. We need one of those in any case.
I'm going to make customers metrics. Anyway, thank you, Zoe, for introducing. And it's probably important to say that you are qualified in this. You have a PhD in this.
Yes.
You've not done some kind of online courses. You're not just playing at this.
No.
And I'm not saying that other people in the
Just
industry...
wrote doctor in front of it.
Yeah,
Just,
and I'm not saying that other people in the industry are just playing at this, but Zoe isn't. Okay, keep that in mind, kids.
real talk.
So, where do you want to start? What question? What?
Right, so I was briefed with green flag, red flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And
No,
I've
put your cup back on there.
Nope. Nope.
And I've seen this before. I've seen you do it. Makes
Okay.
me laugh. So we're gonna start. We're gonna ease you in, and then
Just a disclaimer here. I do not know the answers to this one.
Bullshit.
I really don't.
So he's got. He's got form for
He's
cheating
got-
on this. He's got form for cheating, is this lad?
I
It's
know
not
I
cheating.
watched him write the questions that he was cheating on the time before he did it with you. Sorry.
Okay. Well, so you're on in that too.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's everybody, buddy. Well, you should have
So,
wore a 3&6 shirt,
Chris.
shouldn't you? Be part of the group.
Tris,
Sorry, boss.
focus.
Yeah.
Sorry, doctor.
Sorry, Doc.
Sorry, Doc. I'm trying not to crumple the paper too loud.
You can crumble the paper. Just don't do this.
Oh no, faceless. Faceless one made a faceless gesture.
Did you?
She did.
Right, go. Question 1.
A hotel describes itself as a green hotel or an eco-conscious retreat on its homepage.
Mhm.
Green flag, red flag.
I mean, I think that's a green flag
I think it's a red flag just to be.
Because you have
to be contentious. Well, you don't. I mean, this is more of a discussion, so we have to
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
on this one. Do you want to agree on this one?
I can do, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I don't think I like that.
No,
I
you know, you'd be fine. You just, you've done it now. You've done it.
Can
I
I,
think
can I go on the fence?
No, yeah, I want you to fight. So green flag, you're a red flag.
She's literally just thrown.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, I
She's
think
just
The
thrown
rules of the
swords.
game, is it not?
Yeah.
Well, if whoever goes green gets
she's just
green.
thrown
whoever-
swords into the gladiators when you're there. It's like, and fight.
there is, but this is too important a topic. I think.
Oh.
I think this is too important a topic to fake disagree on because if
Deep.
I do. If a hotel is saying they are green, then it's, I think, a good thing because either there's two things: they are green, or three things.
Greenwashing.
They are okay. They are green.
When they're really red.
They are green. They think they're green, or they want to be green.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I thought, oh, they're just saying it because it's a fun thing to say and gets more people in.
Oh.
yeah, yes.
There's-
So so out of 4 potential things, one of them is hella shady.
Yeah, hella shady.
Hella shady.
It's not really green at all.
No, it's a weird shade of green.
Yeah.
So one, if they are saying it and they genuinely are green and they have made the actual impact and made changes, I was thinking about this actually before we had this call. Before we had this.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's cheating.
No. I
wasn't thinking about
I was
anything at all.
accidentally thinking about it because one of the things that's always irked me is when you go to a hotel and there's towels and they say we want to save the planet. We want to save the absolute planet, and we're going to do this by not washing your towels every day. I swear to the Lord, it has nothing to do with wanting to save money at all. It's all about the planet. What someone think about the planet. And
What about the children?
Yeah, want somebody to think of the children.
Please.
And I'm just like, you can wash these 4 times a day for that.
Yeah.
That annoys me. Like fake. We're trying to save the planet, but we're trying to save a bank account. That's fake green nonsense. But if it's on the website and they're trying to do it and they can evidence it,
Wow.
that's a different thing. Because anybody can say I'm green.
Anyone can say that.
I can say I'm green.
Well, we know you're not. You're quite tanned compared to me. Yeah, definitely.
Can we just get that camera?
No, let's not. They can already see it.
Faceless. Can you just zoom in on that bit? And just do like a
Please don't.
Pantone colour chart.
Please
That'd be
don't.
great.
Please don't.
So if they are green, they say they're green, and they can evidence they're green, I think it's a good thing. However, because I'm incredibly sceptical and disbelieving, I would want to see how they've arrived at that.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree?
What's your opinion, Tris?
I whatever you tell me to, Doc. I don't. Yeah. No,
Yes, Doc.
I can't. It's very difficult to disagree with Ben there. He's absolutely right. But I think in the spirit of the game, I'm going to have to disagree.
Yeah.
I think hotels should be allowed to say whatever they want just to get the costs down and get people and heads in beds.
Okay.
Personally, go GMs.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you my opinion on this. I would need to see evidence. So, but I would say if there isn't the evidence, if they're putting things on their homepage, green, eco-conscious, those things don't mean anything. There's no green literally means green. You know, it doesn't mean anything. And I would want strong evidence. I would want some stats also on the homepage to back this up if they're saying it. So for me, I would say it's a red flag just having the eco-conscious or the green hotel.
Okay.
But as we will find going through this, sustainability is incredibly nuanced. And if they are shouting about something and that is their first step, and that they have a great strategy written by somebody incredibly clever that will help them get there, then great. And that's what they're doing is they're kind of putting their head above the parapet and saying, this is our goal, this is our aim. But I would want them to be saying that as well.
Okay.
They're not already there.
Can I tell my house car story here?
Your house car?
My house car story, and I'll anonymise it to protect the
houses and cars.
No, there was one particular.
You're not going to talk about when I've parked outside your house with my 7-seater diesel car, are you?
No.
No, okay.
No, because you would never do that. Your car runs on red squirrels and raccoons.
The tears of children.
Tears of children, red pandas. So, no, we had a client once who, a couple of years ago, when green started to become a thing, or it started to become a bit more mainstream. Not that I'm saying it hasn't always been mainstream, obviously, very important, but it became a little bit more of a topic. We had one of our clients reach out and say, hey, we want to put a page on the site about our efforts to become more green, which include not washing our towels as much, and then trying to use local producers wherever necessary. I was like, well, I know you fly meat across the Atlantic, so it's not, and so yes, we'll do it. That's fine, and you can populate it. They said the owner's really passionate about moving towards sustainability. In the next email, they said, can you update the header image to show the house cars of the hotel, which were 2 Maseratis? And I've said, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you're hearing yourself here, but you want us to talk about how green you are, and then these, which will get 2 miles to the gallon.
If you're lucky.
Going downhill with
a tailwind.
Yeah, so if I'm honest, is what started a little bit of my skepticism.
Yeah.
You're giving with one hand, but you are taking away with the other. So,
but for me, I think there's a big aspect to this of people not. You're going to talk about the nuance later on, but like hotels and people working within hotels, or people just working in business in general, don't really understand what you can do. More importantly, what you should do in order to offset any carbon emissions.
Yeah.
The idea of, we just won't wash the towels enough, we won't not enough. We won't wash the towels as many times. Yeah, because obviously there's this story that goes around about detergent being bad to the environment, being washed out, yada yada. Well, yeah, okay, great. That's one story, one tiny story that has made it perhaps to a little bit more a popular gain, and it's relevant to the hotel industry. But there's so much more that every business should be doing, not just hotels, not just ourselves. There's so much more that it should be doing.
And that's the thing, it can be really difficult because there is so much you could do that I think that almost scares people to start.
Yes.
Because, and I think that's what's really interesting about what we're working on together is like, let's look at the digital marketing, let's look at the website, let's look at that sort of stuff, because it's a starting point, and it's a very clear, obvious starting point when people are looking at your website. You can say things about that. But it is endless. It is endless what you could be doing. And then ultimately you get to a point where, we're better off just not doing anything because we don't want to be called upon because we're doing this one thing and not the other thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so it is really tricky. It is really difficult.
Called out.
Don't call me out.
No.
But yeah, so
you think it's a red flag?
Yeah, because I'd want some more data. And neither of you went red flag, even though I tried to push Tris.
I think you.
Yeah,
okay.
Tris won.
So we got that wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to say partial credit, barely.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you keeping score, Casey?
Who? Do you mean faceless?
Oh,
faceless one.
Faceless.
Yeah.
Facey.
She's currently got it at 0-0.
Have you seen the face? Because that should not be faceless.
That's the irony
That
of
should be
it.
what's winning this.
I know.
She should be the one on the camera.
That's the irony of it. That's
Right. Here's
this is what you get. This is what you don't see. It's way better.
What is it?
X-ray
I can't see.
X-ray eyes. The homepage includes real staff photos and details on local sourcing, but has no sustainability accreditation.
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say okay. Do you want to go first? I'll jump.
I changed it because you went green before.
Okay. Well, do you want me to go red so you can have them green?
I don't know the answers to any of these questions
Okay.
because I'm really frightened. The
Still
doctors
don't believe you. So, So again, if they're trying to do things and they are starting to give little bits of evidence, that is disproportionately more impactful than just saying you're green. Because if I was a hotelier and I don't know what I don't know. As a hotelier, if you go to many of them, they're not going to be able to rattle off lists of green accreditations that they could get. So the best they can do is, hey, here's where we buy our meat from. Here's a link to the page. Here's farm to table, blah, 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 blah. Here's a list of people we've got working for us. They're all local, or they're, we hire from this area, so we don't want people to have to drive into work, or they're all remote. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it shows a step above just we are green.
Yeah.
And as we discussed, there is no legal term for green. No. It's just a colour. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing, because it shows that even that little bit of a step, here's where we're getting our food from, here's where our staff are based, is leaps and bounds above we're an eco-conscious hotel.
I get what you're saying with that, but for me, I think there's an element of, we talk about greenwashing, but there's varying degrees of it. I think for me, there needs to be a much more clear and concerted effort into putting a carbon offsetting strategy in place by more companies in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think, again, something like that just shows that people are just doing the bare minimum, or it's a token gesture, or again, lack of knowledge, lack of actually foresight to go and research what they need, find a Dr. Zoe. Yeah, find a Dr. Zoe and say, come in and tell me how we can do better at this. You can bet your bottom dollar they're going to get plenty of people in to tell them how to sell the product better, market the product better, whether they can get more efficiencies better. There's consultants galore out there, and you trip over yourself. There's some really good ones, there's some really bad ones, and there's everything in between. But I think for me, it's about the importance that businesses are putting on this type of topic. It's just not mainstream because it doesn't make money.
It's not revenue.
It's not revenue. It's tricky for that. So I've got this as a green flag, actually. So I'm with Ben on this. Boo hiss. Because I think it's better to be doing things than to pay for like an expensive accreditation. The accreditation, I'm data first. I drill you down for numbers all the time on this, but it's really important that we have the numbers if you're on that journey. But if you're starting this journey and you're starting it by doing things, then paying for your green key or whatever one you want to go for is a lot of money. So let's just start doing it, and then we can kind of go through the accreditation as we go, and we can start banking those things and putting them in, and they're part of the evidence base for this. And I was recently at a conference, and it was like UK market
Conference.
man it was the Institute of Hospitality, and the UK markets guy for Expedia was talking about how consumers are looking more for action than they are for accreditation. So like they're not really looking at the things at the bottom that say this, they're looking for the evidence of it. So what we need is that combination, because then there's people that are procuring hotels for businesses, and say if I was looking for a hotel for you guys to stay in, I would look for the accreditation because that's what I look for. But if I was a customer wanting to go on holiday, then they would be looking for action. And it's a really interesting point. So that's what's really important is doing it both, but let's start with the action, because then that kind of drives the revenue, which then drives people in, which then drives more money to actually being accredited.
And to your early point about taking the first step, if your first step is like, I feel like we need to do something, let's take a picture of the meat on the menu and then take a picture of the cow and the farm it came from.
Yeah,
that's the first step. At least it shows, I think,
and it leans back to that kind of we're showing what we're doing, so we've started the process now, we can't go back. So once you've started down this road, if you turn back again, then that's you're losing customer trust, you're losing all that sort of stuff. So once you've started down this road, it's really important to just kind of keep going.
Agreed. Okay.
So that was Tris and Ben 1-1.
1-1. But I am enjoying it. I think this is very important. This is a lot of fun, and it's nice not to be ganged up on.
This is not supposed to be fun.
All right, sorry. I am not enjoying this in the slightest.
Right.
Well, it's time for ganging up yet.
So, I don't want to ask this one because we've already talked over it, so I'm going to skip. No. So the next one was going to be guests are invited to reuse towels and reduce laundry, but there's no clear info on how that impacts emissions.
I got there first.
Okay,
I won that one.
I think this is a great idea because who wants a clean, dry towel? Not me. I'll rub yesterday's bathwater of myself.
No, you want a clean dry
I know, but he got green first.
yeah.
So no, I'm very skeptical of that.
Yeah.
Very skeptical.
Because again, it's that it does lend into that nuance of like we're doing something, but it's done by everyone now. It's done, so that's just like that should just be done. That's just standard now, and so we've got to go to the next step. What's the next thing?
I mean, you can be really skeptical, like, oh, we're going to reuse bars of soap, like
That's happening.
but not like take them away and reform
right,
them.
okay.
I'm just going to leave the soap in the room. I'm not going to wash the sink. If you just squint, you won't be able to see the hair. Like,
Well, to be fair, there are some properties that,
true,
that don't do that anyway.
That is true.
Their
I've
TripAdvisor
stayed
rating
in
is not. Yeah, the TripAdvisor rating's not that
Travelling, yeah.
great.
A mass spectrum of hotels.
Yeah.
I am just really skeptical of that kind of stuff.
I think we should make
It's a bit
soap out of
performative.
human, like human fat.
Oh, right,
That
okay.
should be the way she would do
We're not
this.
supposed to talk about Fight
Oh,
Club.
all right, okay.
Jesus Christ, Tris.
Can you edit that,
You
Kate?
can get that out.
Yeah. So no, skeptical about towels. Boo.
Yeah. Sick. But you got there first with your red flag, so
Boom.
wins. Tris wins based on the argument that you made
You
earlier.
can have that. That's fine. I'm so mad. I didn't even want the point. I'm so mad.
So, this one. The hotel installs solar panels and a grey water system, but chooses not to spotlight it in marketing.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. 100%. No. If you do something, if you do something just to shout about the fact that you've done it, then you've done it for the wrong reasons. Sustainability should be ethically the right thing to do. Not everything needs to be driven by the impact of something. If you've got solar, great, you're doing your bit. You don't need to get a pat on the head from everyone. Oh, you're such a great person, you're such a great business, well done, well done. If we shout about all the stuff that we do,
Which I think you should do more.
which you think we should do more.
Guess who's winning this one?
No, the only
Just keep going.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the wrong reasons. The only reason that it could be that you might want to shout about it is to shame your competitors into doing it. But
Preach.
that's the only reason. Otherwise, I think you don't need to always bang on about how great of a business you are.
As a digital marketing company where marketing is the essential part of what we do, I think this is a really important point. Just saying.
That's fine. With any improvements we make, or anyone makes to companies, you don't always have to bang on about it. Some of them you can have class and a little bit of...
I agree, but I think for me, something as sizable as putting in solar, the financial investment that is involved with that, if it was other things that perhaps didn't need as much...
And grey water. Now, I obviously know what a grey water system is, and I know you do.
Of course, yeah, but maybe Zoe, you might want to tell the good listeners, all five.
I'm going to stab, but it's something to do
I
with...
glossed over that.
No, we're not a gloss. I think it's something to do with recycling rainwater.
Yeah,
and
so
then...
it's like using non-potable water for...
What?
So not drinking
Non-potable?
water in the toilets. Don't put drinking water in the toilets. It's
Don't
pretty
do that.
much, yeah.
Well, where am I going to drink?
Because the sink has hair in it still.
And that soap looks sketchy.
We've covered that.
Nobody's
So
washed those glasses in 3 years, so...
just housekeeping coming in, face down in the bowl. It's the cleanest place.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Shame. Pouring some squash in to flavour it.
That's what you call it.
Oh,
That's
no.
what grey water is.
Yeah.
Recycling.
Well,
yeah.
as I was saying, I think like the capital investiture that needs to go into putting solar power in and putting in grey water, grey water systems. I think that is something that I would advocate shouting about, because that for me is a data backed. So it's not just a hey we're green.
Yeah.
You know, we've actually invested in it, and this is how we've invested in it. And I think that is something that should be pushed and promoted, because whilst you're talking about like beating the competitors, I think shaming them.
I said
Oh, was it shame?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. I took it as like beating them and just trying to be better than them. And
I mean,
trying
that
to
as well. But
yeah,
the shame, like,
but yeah, no,
why are you
I
doing it?
completely, completely agree with that.
I think so. you win because I think it's a red flag. You don't win because I don't care about your ethics. But I
He
think
drinks out toilets.
yeah.
It's the clean. Don't use that as a soundbite.
It's the cleanest place. But I think that, you're saying about, let's do it, just do it quietly, have a bit of class, da-da-da-da. I said class then to make it even classier. We're past that. We've gone, we're too far down this road. We need to be shouting about it, making other people feel a bit bad, feel like they should be catching up with us. Particularly the kind of hotels that have the money and to invest in grey water and solar and those sorts of systems, their competitors also probably have good budgets. And they're not fighting against the kind of mom and pop B&B. They're fighting against the bigger companies, the bigger hotel chains, and that we should be bringing them up to those standards, and we should, because we've gone too far now to be doing little effort and little here and little there. If you're doing something big, shout about it, make people feel bad.
Okay, I take your point. I think you're wrong, and here's why. Do you not think that...
Sorry, Dr. Zoe, I think you're wrong on your topic because...
Sorry, your topic that you spent how many years researching?
It was wholly relevant.
Okay,
Do you not think that if people are doing it just to keep up with the Joneses, they're going to be always doing the bare minimum?
No, because I don't think they're doing it just to keep up with the Joneses. If you're doing solar and grey water, you're not doing that just to keep up with the Joneses. You're doing it to reduce your emissions. Oh, okay, but the people that
shaming of the other people.
Yeah, okay.
Do you not think then that they are just going to just do the bare minimum? Do you not think we should move from shaming to education?
Absolutely, and I think that they could use their solar system, and if they had a good consultant working with them whilst they were doing those sorts of things, then they would have made some very interesting educational points out of that. They would have made some, they've taught their staff what's going on, why it's there, how we can shout about it, how we can kind of bring it up to our customers so that they expect that this is what it should be, and that when they go to other hotels that don't have this, that's not quite right. Okay. And there is a better way of doing things.
I was going to say, I mean, that aside, I think that there is a different angle with it. With things that you're talking about there, yes, there's a capital expenditure that needs to go out, but there is actually a cost saving that comes with
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah, I know, but when you're investing in a hotel, you're not talking about, this is a flash in the pan, I'm going to be here for a year, then I'm going to get out. When you're getting involved in a business of that magnitude, it is a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Even if you end up selling the thing to another, sell the hotel or sell the hotel group to a bigger or different hotel group, it still has added value because of the solar and the grey water that you've invested in.
Yeah.
I mean, look, aside from hotels, I did the same. I've invested in solar in our organisation. Sorry, our organisation.
It's
in my home.
It's called your house.
It's not. It really isn't. It isn't. I'm in business mode. No, at home, we've invested in solar panels at home, and we've done that very specifically because we've got 2 people working from home full time. It makes sense. We want to absolutely, leave a little bit of world left for our 2 daughters.
Yeah. Okay, so... should we move on to a last question?
Yeah.
Because I think we've kept you quite long enough, Doctor.
Yeah. Oh, which one?
A really difficult one, but he's going to get wrong.
Oh, okay.
This one.
So,
okay.
No, Right, this one is just I want you to tell me a number, okay?
12.
You win! No.
What?
The global hotel industry... The global hotel industry, this isn't a green flag, red flag, it's what's the number, contributes about % of carbon emissions.
The hotel industry or the hospitality and travel?
The global hotel industry.
Okay.
What percentage across the whole of carbon emissions that are going out there?
Are we including travel to and from the hotel? You don't know. This is a well thought out question. Okay.
This is a statistic.
It's a statistic.
Well, that's the thing, some of them will be including that, some of them won't.
Can we confirm? Can we confirm?
Well, I think we can confirm this. So it's 10%. So apparently it contributes. Travel and hospitality contribute 10% of global revenue.
Okay, but travel, to and from the hotel is different from the hotel. Are we talking about when I go out through the door and start burning seals?
And this is a really great example of how do we actually map our emissions, because it's not just the hotel; it's the people travelling to the hotel. It's But I think
so
for
it
this,
is the people
so
travelling.
for this case, it's the hotels.
Just the hotels.
Yeah.
And then when
And their
then you've got
operations.
when they're at the hotels as well. So it's not just what they're doing outside of the hotel. But
Sub
anyway,
20% because it must
it's definitely because like I said,
transport industry.
I reckon 3 to 5% somewhere.
3 to 5.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards 3.
Okay. No.
You want to go higher?
I think it's close at 20.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's close at 20. All right, no, I think it's much more than 20. Now I do. I think, you know what, 36, 3 and 6, 36%.
Do you think that?
Yeah, 36%. What do you think, Tris?
3.5.
Okay.
1.
1%.
1%?
Yeah,
Is that it?
that's it. But that's why it makes me realise that it definitely doesn't include travel to and from.
Because
Yeah.
it's just a hotel.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
So it's just the hotel on its own. But that does
Still
equate
a
to
lot, though.
363 million tonnes of emissions.
Per year?
No, that's the 1%. Yeah, per year.
Per year?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of emissions.
So, you know,
God, we're not
it
all
shows...
washing our towel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Imagine if we started washing our towels, it'd be at least 800%.
Through the roof, guys. Through the roof.
And that's the thing, like, I think it's the big number that we can bring down and that we can have an impact on, and that's quite exciting, really.
Well, I want to talk just very briefly on that as well,
briefly.
because we were talking about like a client that we're working with at the moment around their website and the carbon that's produced to actually create the website, but then the carbon that is produced for their website just being live on the internet.
Yeah.
And that is something that we've started looking at and starting working with, and it's a service that we're now looking to offer towards our clients, that we can offset the carbon that's produced from a hotel website.
But I think what's important to add in that, because, you know, we're counting what offsetting, but as part of that process, you guys are kind of looking into learning about how to reduce as well.
Yes.
And that's what's really important, because it's not like counting and offsetting doesn't mean a lot. It's about reducing as well. And that's what you guys are really committed to. So that's great.
No, fair point. Absolutely, yeah, because it's great. Oh, well, you know, we've offset. Hey, we can go and spend some more carbon bucks. Yeah,
it's like just, you know, putting a number on nature, and we shouldn't be doing that.
12.
12. The 3.6.
8.5, sorry.
Well, thank you.
No,
Indeed.
thank you.
It's been great fun. It's very different having someone else in this room whilst we try and put this together. In general serious, if you need some help with green accreditations for hotels and hospitality industry, we cannot recommend anybody better than Ardea. And Dr. Zoe, who has a PhD, isn't playing at this and knows her biscuits.
Absolutely.
So we're going to tag Ardea.
I'm going to take that soundbite and put it across all my social media.
100% should.
They are carbon neutral biscuits.
Yeah.
Carbon neutral custard cream.
Bourbons.
Bourbons.
That's
Sorry,
what I've got around my neck.
Bourbons. Sorry. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, leave us in the comments and we'll do our best to answer.
Thank you.